Breaking news, we've got a winner in California. A ticket with all 6 numbers in tonight's Mega Millions drawing was sold at Ernie's Liquors in San Jose.
And that jackpot is a whopping $522 million. And there's only one winning ticket, we're told, so that buyer is taking it all. Cash option, $308 million.
Well, let's take a look at the winning numbers that we didn't have. Numbers 1, 2, 4, 19, 29, and the Mega Ball number is 20.
Make sure you call those folks in San Jose that you
And I guess they had nothing to do with those heat wave numbers earlier, because none of those were, those were way too low.
Big numbers there in the heat wave, too. Our other story, top story tonight, the Southland heat wave.
Yeah, I think it's hot now. Well, tomorrow it's expected to be the hottest day of a sweltering week. We saw lots of short sleeves in the San Fernando Valley tonight and long lines for ice cream. A flex alert is in effect again tomorrow evening. High
surf advisories also up and down the coastlines as well. Crowds packing the wedge in Newport Beach this evening. That's where waves got up to 15 feet.
And check out this wild sight in Adelanto. Richard Hifner got video this afternoon of a dust devil. Let's get right to Garth Kemp, who's looking ahead to tomorrow's brutal heat. Garth?
Yeah, it's going to be the warmest day of the week, like you said, Pat. Tomorrow, good evening, everybody. Right now, 74 degrees. We have a mild evening again on tap for us. Cheers to you if you were observing the flex alert and kind of just tamping things down, not using power as little as possible between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Do the same thing tomorrow. Hopefully we can keep out of these power outages. 86 right now, really mild San Bernardino, 80 into Burbank, 73 at the airport, 87 up into Lancaster. Excessive heat warnings still in no effect. We'll talk about that. Get you into the weekend. It's all coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys.
Okay, Garth, look forward to that. Thank you. And continued coverage of the heat is just minutes away. Some easy tips to cool off in your home. Whether you're not, you have air conditioning.
We are now seeing intense video of the shootout outside Trader Joe's in Silver Lake. A young woman died when she was hit by police gunfire. Tonight, the new LAPD police chief returned to the scene of the deadly hostage standoff to pay his respects. And CBS2's Tom Wade is live in Silver Lake with details. Tom?
And Pat, it was a very emotional moment. We'll get to that in just a second here. But in that body cam video, officers were standing right where I am right now. They crouched down here and they were shooting at the suspect who was in that window at Trader Joe's, shooting back at them. Police body cam video shows the moments as Silver Lake Trader Joe's was turned into a war zone. You'll see the shooting suspect, Gene Atkins, at his car firing at officers. Police shoot back. In slow motion, you'll see the door to the Trader Joe's opening. Melly Corrado was standing outside. She was shot, goes back inside, and then she collapses. Today, the LAPD confirmed one of their bullets took her life. Tonight, Chief Michel Moore came back to the scene.
This is about, frankly, an opportunity to pay some respects to a family and to a loss.
The chief was emotional as he talked about Corrado's family and the pain they are feeling.
This young lady who, by every description, had so much to live for, and to a father that that has lost, I'm sure, it's undescribable. So.
It was Chief Moore that ordered this heart-stopping video released. At one point, officers take cover behind a cinder block wall. The suspect, Atkins, is firing through a window of the store.
We're fortunate that those men and women that chased this individual and eventually our capture of him, we did not see a further loss of life.
Shots fired. Police say Atkins began his rampage in South LA, where he shot his 76-year-old grandmother and his 17-year-old girlfriend. He then kidnapped his girlfriend. She was in the car as the dangerous chase unfolded. The man who caused this deadly chaos was in court today. Atkins is facing 30 counts and will be charged in Corrado's murder as well. At the memorial tonight, sorrow, but also support for the officers involved.
I don't think they were negligent. I don't think their intention was ever to take somebody's life. If anything, they were trying to protect lives.
And you can see there is still a large crowd gathered, even at this late hour, still paying their respects, leaving cards and also leaving notes. Just people memorializing this woman, some of them complete strangers, but felt such a strong connection to her. Chief Moore left his flowers in that grouping over there. Reporting live in Silver Lake, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.
Caught on camera, thieves hit the Apple store at the South Coast Plaza Mall in Costa Mesa, stealing $30,000 worth of electronics in just seconds.
Yeah, police tell us a group of 5 men in their 20s stole iPads and iPhones right off the tables. An off-duty security officer rather, in front of that store was kicked to the ground as he tried to stop the robbers.
I don't understand how you could just swipe $30,000 worth of iPhones or anything, because there's so many people in the store. And you assume there's so many employees.
Police say the suspects were last seen driving towards the 405 in a silver Infiniti.
Breaking news now, a secretly recorded conversation between then candidate Donald Trump and his personal attorney is out tonight.
And the audio of Mr. Trump discussing a payoff to a former Playboy playmate contradicts what his campaign has said for over a year now. CBS 2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here now with more details.
Yeah, this is a developing story, and this may be the first of maybe a dozen tapes that were secretly recorded of President Trump. He wasn't president necessarily at the time they were recorded. This secretly recorded audio tape by Donald Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, may not be exactly a smoking gun, but the conversation about buying the rights to a story of an alleged affair with a Playboy model is raising questions about what the president knew and how truthful he was in discussing it.
And I've spoken.
Tonight, a secretly recorded audio tape is taking center stage in the ongoing debate over President Trump's alleged affair with a former Playboy model. Portions of the audio tape were played Tuesday night on CNN, with the voices of Mr. Trump and his personal attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, clearly audible as they discussed a potential payment for Karen McDougal's account of having an affair with him. Here's that portion of the tape played tonight by CNN with Michael Cohen speaking first.
And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be...
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So,
don't pay for cash.
No. I got... No.
Ultimately, the money, $150,000, was paid to McDougal by a third party, AMI, American Media Incorporated, owner of the National Enquirer. The audio tape played Tuesday night certainly doesn't prove any crime was committed, but it does appear to show that Mr. Trump was informed by Cohen about the details of what was being done to make sure McDougal's story was never published. And it appears to contradict Trump's insistence that he knew nothing about it. In March, McDougal told CNN's Anderson Cooper about the affair she says they had in 2006.
We were together 10 months before I chose to end it. So we saw each other quite frequently.
So dozens of times you were together?
Many dozens of times,
and you were intimate?
Yes.
Now, the conversation on the secret tape took place several weeks after the National Enquirer's parent company closed the deal to pay McDougal for her story about the alleged affair. As mentioned, Mr. Trump has denied all along that the affair ever took place, and his campaign said he knew nothing about the payment, which it sounds like they were discussing. Jeff, back to you.
Okay, Dave, thank you. Well, tonight a heartbroken daughter told us in Spanish that she and her sisters have not processed that their father is gone. Isidro Hernandez was killed in a hit-and-run street race this weekend in South L.A.
The LAPD says a BMW that was racing a white sedan hit Hernandez. He and his SUV were launched almost 200 feet. The driver of the white sedan left the scene.
Prayers continue at this hour for singer Demi Lovato as she recovers from an apparent drug overdose.
The star has been open with fans about addiction, her sobriety, and a recent relapse. And CBS 2's Suzanne Marquez joins us now with details about her condition. Suzanne.
Well, Pat and Jeff, the good news is her rep says that she is awake and with family who want to express thanks for the love and support. And tonight, fellow musicians are sending heartfelt messages to her.
And that's my sister in recovery, and I know what it's like to slip. I know what it's like to relapse. I've done it many, many times.
Macklemore and Charlie Puth shared words of support before their concerts as Demi Lovato is forced to cancel her own Thursday show in Atlantic City. You can see the last police car leaving Laurel View Drive in the Hollywood Hills this afternoon. Paramedics and police were called to the home for an overdose and took singer Demi Lovato to the hospital.
I sat down with her when she came back from her first time in rehab, and she said it's an everyday battle. She's trying to fight it, and even back then, you knew she still had a long way to go.
Mama, I'm so sorry, I'm not sober anymore.
Demi admitted last month she'd relapsed in a song titled Sober after 6 years of sobriety. In a YouTube documentary called Simply Complicated, she revealed she started using at 17.
I think there's a lot of undue pressure on celebrities when they come out and share that they're entering into recovery. You know, I've read a lot that Demi has been the new face of opioid addiction, and the reality is no one can take that on.
Marnie Rosenzweig is owner of the talent agency, the Rosenzweig Group. She's also an ambassador for Shatterproof, an addiction treatment organization, and sober herself for 19 years.
Her relapse probably started when her disease started to grow and was being treated less. You know, you can relapse just as easily at a family barbecue as you can at a bar. It really depends on where you are internally.
And she says without any kind of treatment, the disease can progress and relapse can even be more likely and dangerous. Suzanne Marquez, CBS2 News.
Suzanne, thank you. Well, the death toll right now for the Greece wildfires has reached 74. The fires near Athens broke out yesterday. Hundreds of firefighters still working to get those flames under control. They are now the deadliest fires that nation has dealt with in 11 years.
And evacuations are underway at Yosemite National Park tonight as a massive wildfire burns just outside the park. Authorities are closing off the entire Yosemite Valley and the Wawona area at noon tomorrow. At least 1,000 campground and hotel reservations have been canceled, and at last check, the fire is 25% contained. The closure is expected to last until at least Sunday.
Well, stay with us. Trying to stop the scooter craze.
Yeah, the local city that just came to a new decision tonight. That's ahead. Plus this.
Did you come home to a hot house tonight? How to cool off your home even if you don't have AC.
Hi, everybody. I'm Garth Kemp. Coming up, talk about a very, very hot day tomorrow.
And a group of beachgoers worked together to get a shark back in the water after it was caught by a fisherman.
Let's take a look at the guest tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.